You guys hear me? Okay, cool. I think Lane's in the other room over there.
There I am.
There we go.
All right, John Boyd, lead us off. Thanks.
Yeah. Russ, Tyler's off to statistically one of the best starts of his career. You guys have always had a strong connection, but how have you seen that grow over the years where you just feel so comfortable going to him in big moments?
Yeah, well, Tyler, he's just so special. He knows the game in and out. He knows the game plan. I always tell you guys, he's like a quarterback on the field. I think that, he's just been so dialed in ever since he's gotten here. I think that, I think from his, experience just being a guy who's been around, professional, football players before and stuff like that. He came in as a professional, as a rookie, and he had that little bump in the road with the injuries and stuff like that, but he just has overcome everything, and he's an overcomer in every way. He's a man of great faith. He's a man of just high character. He loves doing it the right way. He just keeps finding a way to get open, and so they can't cover him, and he's just so good at everything he does.
With the scramble drill in particular, when you are running around making something happen out of the pocket, when you look downfield, how confident are you that you're going to find him open somewhere? Seems like he's always the guy.
Yeah, and just so confident in everybody, honestly. He's one of the guys that's been around me the longest, obviously, so he's probably definitely one of the best at it, without a doubt. But, everybody's done a great job of it. We've had some huge scrambles, throughout this season, and in the past, obviously, it's something that we do really well. But it's not something that we're looking to do. It's just something that happens, just through the flow of the game. And I think that he's so quick and so fast. He's just so decisive. He makes the right play every time.
Corbin?
Hey, Russ, kind of building off of that last question. Early in your career, you guys had some seasons you were in the middle of the pack or in the bottom half of the league in red zone efficiency, but right now you're at 100%. You've scored a touchdown every time you've been down there. I asked Tyler about this on Sunday. It seems like you two are much more comfortable together there the last couple of years in congestion. What makes him so special down there, and what's been the biggest improvement for you in the red zone as your career's progressed?
Well, I think that it's all about touchdowns. You want to be able to score touchdowns, and we have multiple ways of doing it. Obviously, we want to be able to run the ball in first and get the ball in through there, and just let Chris Carson do his thing, and Carlos and the running backs. And then with the receivers, they just do a great job of creating separation and getting open and finding lanes. And we find lanes, in every different way. Whether if it's a zone defense or a man defense, or and whether if obviously the scrambles too as well. And so it's just. It's about making plays down there. It's about just believing that, when you get down there, we need to score every time. And I think, we get to, practice it every week of going down the red zone every day and getting tons of work down there.
Masvita?
Hey, Russell, just wondering if you could talk about the versatility of the tight ends, just what they can do, and then if you have a second, just who they are and how different they are personality-wise.
Yeah, Masvita, I think that's a good question. I think the reality is that I think we have one of the best tight end rooms, if not the best tight end room in the NFL, just because of the great experience that we have and the players that we have. You think about, Greg Olsen, obviously, I think it's his 14th, 15th year. And just he's been unbelievable for so many years. He's made so many key plays over the past. He's brought me nightmares at night sometimes. A couple times here, but he's just a great teammate. He knows his stuff. He's dialed in, and that's been awesome for us. And then, we think about, obviously Disley. Disley came in. We were talking about his first game, his first experience, his first few games in his career, and then obviously the last year too as well. I mean, he just came out on fire, and so we're really excited about where he's at physically, and he's gonna be able to do a lot of great things for us, throughout this season. And we're really excited that he's come back so healthy and ready to play. And he hasn't gotten those opportunities quite as much yet, but I know that he's going to make some huge plays for us this season. And I have all the confidence in the world in who he is, and such a great team player he is. And then Hollister, he's been a great addition. He's been able to get open, and when obviously last year we had all those injuries to Disley in the tight end room and everything else, Hollister really stepped up. And just made tons of plays back to back and just kept making plays and scoring touchdowns. And so he's been terrific for us. Then there's obviously Luke Wilson too, who brings the passion and energy, and just he's kind of been one of those he's always right in my hip, right when I need him. You know what I mean. So he always just makes a great play for us. And so the tight end room is phenomenal. I think that those guys have been dialed in since day one. They've done a great job through all the meetings, all the Zoom calls. They've been in every call, every situation. We've talked about a lot of ball. We've got tons of work with Greg in the offseason, just one-on-one. I got some work with Disley too, and when he was ready to roll and healthy enough. So we got to spend one-on-one time together. Hollister, his focus and detail is amazing. And then obviously Luke, I've been with him for so many years. We've scored a lot of touchdowns and made a lot of plays together. So I think about each person individually, though. Greg is so focused, so dialed in, but he's got an amazing sense of humor. He's always cracking up, always making jokes and stuff like that. So, which I didn't know about him, and so we've really bonded in a great way. We've become really close. I think that relationship, that veteran relationship, is very real, and that respect. I think with Disley is so poised in every circumstance, in every situation, and he's so confident. He's one of the most confident people I know, and so I really respect him for his confidence and what he brings. Hollister is a guy very similar to, I would say, Disley. Super confident guy, a guy who always believing in the best, a guy who's just knows he's going to make the next play and this play right here. And I love that about him. And then you got Luke Wilson, who's Techno Thursday Luke over there. He's the guy that brings the passion, the energy, just everything that you could ever want in a teammate. He brings that to us and brings that consistency and that stability in terms of his energy and passion. So that's what I love about those guys.
Matt Calkins.
Hey Russell, two-part question. Can you describe how your relationship with Coach Schottenheimer has developed over the years, and how influential do you think he's been so far in the way your offense has been able to rack up points?
Well, Shotty and I have been really close. You got pretty close since day one, and because, I love the game. I love the process of it all. I study and spend so much time on it. And he's the same exact way. He loves the game. He loves the passion behind it and everything else. And so I think with him, we both connected in that sense. And so, over the past couple of years, over the past few years, obviously in any system, right, you develop the chemistry, the work ethic, all that stuff together as one, which has been tremendous along the way. And I think that, with me and Shotty, I'm super close with his family, and everything else. So I really respect him because more than anything else, obviously just being a great man, a great person, I think that he's a great coach. He's a great teacher, not just to me, but to the group, to the guys. And so that's what I love about him. I love teachers. I love people who can educate and teach not just the game, but the game of life and how to do things and the experiences. And his lineage is amazing, and obviously I think with his dad Marty and stuff like that, he's been around the game for so much. He's seen it all, and so he always has a good answer and can always think of a great plan in that sense.
Greg Bell.
Russ, in your strive for perfection, how much better can you play than right now?
I think we left some stuff out in the field in the past, this past game, and I think the first two games were pretty spot on, I think, in every way. But I think this last game we kind of left some things out in general, and so I had the third down that I missed and threw a little low. We had the obviously we had that one play that could have been a touchdown and stuff like that. So there's some things out there. I think for me though, there's always room for improvement. I think there's always room for growth. There's always room for. I think the biggest part of consistency is consistently growing, consistently elevating. It's not just staying consistent and keep doing the same thing. It's consistently elevating your game. And I think, can I elevate everybody else? I believe there's a whole nother space that we can go to with this offense. And that's what I'm searching for. That's what I'm passionate about right now is, how much further can we go? We've been darn near great, almost perfect in a lot of different ways, but there's still a lot more room to grow. And I think that I feel confident, I think that, a lot of people, I was thinking about it, and just, the process of everything else, and think about to baseball and different things, different sports you play and anything in life, there's a difference between, streaks, and there's a difference between, just being in the zone. And I think that we're definitely in the zone, and I think that we want to stay in that zone, stay locked in.
Ben?
Hey Russ, you've talked a lot about how special DK is. Just a lot. You mentioned it on Sunday, just kind of since you got here as a rookie. I was wondering if there was a moment, like a play or maybe a conversation you had film room, where you knew that he was kind of wired like you, maybe that he had a different mindset than other guys. Is there a moment that kind of stands out to where you kind of knew he was just kind of different than other guys?
Well, I knew last year when he came in, and as a rookie, I think I've told you guys this before, but as a rookie, he sat right next to me in the meetings, and he always asked me, questions and everything else. And I give this long 15-page report every week, and as you guys know, and he studies it, reads it word for word. He finds everything. If I quiz him, ask him a question, he knows it. And it could be about the defensive lineman, it could be about anybody. So that's what's really special about him, is that process of that. And I think that not just the physical, part of the game that he can bring to the game, but I think it's the mental side of the game that he really wants to be, one of the all-time greats. And when you're around it, you kind of sense it, you kind of know it, and you kind of feel it, and obviously you can see it too. And so I, in terms of just, how they produce on the field, and I think he's been producing, since day one. I think this offseason, though, we really got to really, really deeply get to know each other on a personal level of, especially with all the stuff going on with COVID and the world and everything else. We really connected, and we've always connected in a spiritual way too. So I think, I think that relationship has been really, really cool and really special, and how that's continued to develop. And I really respect him, and we can have those one-on-one conversations about anything. And I think those things are the important things in the essence of relationship and friendship, and growth. And I think that's what has been a blessing, just to be able to get to know him as a friend, as a little brother in a way, And so it's crazy to think he's only 22. I think he is only 22. So when you think about that, there's a whole nother space and time that he can go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bob?
Yeah, Russell. Brian Schottenheimer talked a few times about the impact of being up in the booth this year as opposed to the last couple of years where he was making the calls from down the sidelines. Have you noticed a difference in that at all? And is the communication any different between you guys? Or?
I don't really notice a difference, to be honest with you, because of he's still coming through the headset and all that stuff. So it's the same thing. But I think that for him, he mentioned that it's pretty cool because you get to see the whole field. It's kind of like you get eagle vision from up there and you get to see everything. But I think the biggest thing that's been great is just all the time that me and Austin and Coach Shoddy have spent together, talking ball, over the past month, in 2 months, since we got in here. And then obviously over the Zoom calls, just really dialing our time in when we do have that time together, because you can only spend so much time together, making sure that we can really take advantage of that time. And like I said, I love the game, Austin does, Shoddy does. So that nature of just knowing the game and feeling it is very natural for us. And I think the other cool thing is that, as like during the games, like even in the past, Shadi and I definitely talk on the sidelines, but for me, I'm always processing the next drive, potentially thinking about, okay, what could happen? What's next? What's going on? And Shadi's doing the same thing even when he was on the field. So he's processing that. But as I'm processing my information, like for example, Austin being my quarterback coach, like last year and even this year especially, it's usually me and Austin talking about, hey, this, and this is what I like, and then they transfer that information as Shadi's getting ready for the next drive. And so I think that's still going on in such a cool way, as Austin's been on the field with me, he's been in the room with me, and so I think that relationship between me and Austin, as well as me and Coach Shoddy, and also all three of us together, has been really great.
All right, two more for Russell. Let's go with Omar, and then we'll wrap up with Jackie.
Hey, Russell, congrats on all the early season success.
Yep. Thank you.
You mentioned the depth and the confidence you have in your tight ends. You said the same thing about your wide receivers. We've seen you involve the running backs in the past game. Have you ever been a part of an offense where no matter where you're on the field, no matter who's in the game, you have that sort of 100% confidence in the weapons you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really cool just having great weapons. I think that's when you're playing offensive football, and you're on offense, you're a quarterback. You want to have great weapons. It helps the game. It makes things a little bit easier, and guys can make a lot of great plays. I think the receiver position, with the plethora of guys that we have, and guys like Tyler, and guys like DK. Guys like Demo and Swain stepping up and stepping in. I mean, they're great players, and I think from the tight end position standpoint, to have those. I mean, I don't need to go through the guys again, but just having that many guys that can make that many plays and catch the ball, have all the confidence in the world. The same thing with the running backs; they can catch it and run it. I mean, we're running for 100+ yards pretty much every game in that sense, and so we want to be able to keep that going and do that too as well. And so it's always a great thing to play quarterback and know that you got great skill position players. And I think that's an important part, especially in this point in my career. It's one of those things that you want to separate. You want to be able to maximize every opportunity, every play, every possession, and do special things and go win a Super Bowl. And I think that's part of part of being your ninth year of this. It's a blessing just to have great players, and I think it definitely makes a difference. I go back to when I was at Wisconsin. When you asked me the question, that feeling, when I was at Wisconsin, I got there and we had an amazing offensive line. Our guys are blocking their butts off right now, and here, and it's been great. And I think that makes a huge difference too as well. And then I also think about the players that we had. I mean, we had guys like Nick Toon and Abadaris, star receivers, and then we had tight ends like Pedersen, and we had Monty Ball, we had James White, Monty Ball, and we also had Melvin Gordon at running back. And so I had different receivers, different players. I mean, just we could do anything. On our offense, we can do anything. There's nothing that we can't do, from play action to nakeds to throwing the ball down the field to the quick game to the screens to the this and that. And I think to be able to do it all, to have the versatility of a Chris Carson that can run the ball the way that he runs the ball, so physical and make people miss, and then to catch a screen, and then to run a deep route, and then to run a shallow cross, and then to run the ball again, and then to do all that stuff, and to have running backs like that, like Chris, it's a problem. It's a problem for defense, and it's a good problem for us. It's a good thing for us, but it makes it tough on a defense.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hey Russ, congratulations on being Offensive Player of the Month. This is the first time in your career that this has happened. What does this mean to you? And secondly, you just went through all the weapons that you have, but what's the key for you personally to the success you've had to start the season off?
I think the key, Jackie, for me that helped us start the season off just so great is that knowing that despite everything going on in the world, that you still got to get ready. You still have a job to perform at the highest level. And, I told my performance team, these performance teams, listen, the reality is that, this was in, May or late April or something like that. I forget. But, I told them, I said, listen, the reality is that, the ball's going to be kicked off in four months, whenever that was. I said, the ball's going to be kicked off in 4 months. I'm going to have to be ready to play at the highest level, so we got to do everything we can to stay safe as possible and everything else. At the same time, we got to get our work in. We got to be ready to play. We got to you got to like when I was practicing, I was kept telling my performance team, Wesley's performance team, I was like, listen, we gotta when we're practicing, we gotta practice like the game. So I was I'm wearing shoulder pads, pants, everything. I'm playing a game when I'm practicing, running routes and doing all that stuff. And because the reality is that you're not going to get those reps. You don't really do that in the off season anyway. But it was more so for a mental thing and a physical thing for me too. And so I think that every time I was throwing, I pretty much had pads on for the most part, and just doing all that work. And then at the same time, making sure the condition was up, making sure this was, making sure all the film, meeting with, and talking to, great players of the past that have played this position, as much as possible. And so, I got to, have a one-on-one. I flew out and met with Kurt Warner, for example, and just spent, a long time with him, a full day with him. Just flew out and flew back, to Arizona and flew back, just me and him, and spent a lot of time together. And I think that relationship is very to do that with greats, of our time that have played this position, and to watch a bunch of Peyton Manning stuff, Tom stuff, my stuff, Drew's. I study that stuff and I wake up every morning, and that's the first thing I do is that and train, and so, that's just, it's a commitment, it's a lifestyle, Jackie. I don't think that you can do something and try to be the best in the world at something, and try to be the best in the world consistently without making it a lifestyle. lifestyle and commitment to that every day. And I think the blessing of it all has been that I have great teammates that along the way and in this process of this season that have done that same thing and that same commitment and matched that. And I think that's what's magical. And so we're just in the first month, and we just, there's a lot more ball to play. We have a game this week that we have to go against the Miami defense that's very talented, can do a lot of great things. And so we got to be ready to play, and just, you can't take a day off. I always tell my team, you can't take a day off. It's an everyday thing. It's a commitment. It's a mentality. It's a focus level. It's a lifestyle. Lifestyle can't be random. And so in that approach every day, there is no other space for anything else other than greatness. And I think that's just kind of where my mindset's been. This whole off season, really my whole career, but really in particular this whole off season, because you have time to really just process. Man, like if I could get to do it one more time, what's it gonna look like? If I get to do this one more time, what's it gonna look like? And so I want to make sure that I make it special.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you, guys. Go Hawks.
sip of coffee there. Hey, Tyler Russ just said that there's a difference between a streak and being in the zone. He said this offense is in the zone right now. What's the biggest indicator of that to you?
I think the biggest indicator is just as many points as we're putting up. I think that's something that we haven't done a lot of since I've been here. We've been able to do it in spurts, but being able to do it back to back to back, I think it really says a lot about our offense. I think it says the way that the playmakers that we have on the field, the way we're able to get everybody the ball, just depending on who the defense tries to take away. We have a whole bunch of playmakers who could be able to make plays at any moment. And so it doesn't matter if they stop the run or if they stop the pass. We have a lot of other guys. And so I think that's what he means by we're in the zone, is that whatever they throw at us, we're going to figure out how to capitalize off of it.
AJ?
Tyler, DK tweeted out earlier today that you are the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. I'm wondering if you can just take us into this wide receiver sort of locker room and talk about the chemistry that you guys have and how cool it is to have a teammate who also wishes for his teammates to succeed.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get on DK when I leave since he said that. He shouldn't have said that. Nah, I'm just playing. But I think just the chemistry, it's an amazing vibe. I think when you walk into the room, you can see that you have a bunch of people that love to have fun, and we'll have fun at doing anything. We go out here and walk through, we're going to find a way to have fun. If we're in practice, we're going to find a way to have fun. If we're in meetings, we're going to find a way to have fun. That's literally all that we do. And that's what makes this game so much more better, is that you have a group of guys that you love playing with who's going to ball out and have fun just like you. If you guys have been watching the game, you could tell the way that we play, we feed off of one another, whether it's a catch or whether it's somebody making a block. We're literally trying to put the fear in the people that we play against, and we're not only doing that by playing with a mindset of you can't stop me, but we're also having fun when we get on the sidelines and just different stuff like that. So I think the way that we vibe as a receiver core, that's what makes us go out there and being able to shine, not only in practice, but also in the field.
Michael Sean?
Hey Tyler, as a poet yourself, what have you thought of DK's rap career?
I think DK is a really good rapper. One of these days, we're trying to get him to put me and David Moore on the track with him, but you know how that is. You make one good hit and you don't want to hit us back no more.
So are we going to get a Tyler and DK collaboration?
We shall see. Right now, DK is shining, not only on the field, but also in his music career. So just letting him see how far he could take it and just kind of see the tools that he could use to be able to be successful in whatever area that he wants. But we're definitely going to try to get that. We do a lot of freestyle battles.
Yeah, I see. Thanks, man.
Yep.
John Boyle?
Tyler, Pete had an interesting comment the other day about you and Russ and the connection you have, especially when a play breaks down, and you mentioned you're both natural athletes, guys who whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever, play different sports. How much do you think that helps in football, that you're not just a guy who grew up only playing football, but the other stuff?
I could barely hear you, but I think you asked me about how does playing other sports contribute to what
Correct.
We do on the field? Okay. I think playing different sports contributes because one of the things I look at is basketball. Everything is moving really fast all the time, and you have to be able to see the floor different. And sometimes you got to be a floor general. I played point guard all the time, so I had to understand the concept of the game. I had to understand who had the hot hand, where the people were going to be at based off of certain plays that we played. If I penetrated the lane, if a certain person came, I had to figure out, do I dish it? Do I make the layup? It's all those different types of things that come into play. And when I play the video game, whether it's NBA 2K or whether I'm playing Call of Duty or Madden, like I try to do the same thing. I try to be a floor general if I'm at quarterback or if I'm playing basketball, trying to figure out what can I do to expose certain people. So it's the same when I come out here on the football field in real life. It's kind of like you try to be that second quarterback on the football field to where when a play breaks down, you're kind of thinking a way that he would think, or when the play breaks down, you're understanding all the route concepts around you so that you could be able to constantly try to figure out how to get open and further your game along with just running a route.
Matt Calkins?
Hey, Tyler, I'm curious how influential you feel Coach Schottenheimer has been in the offensive success this year. And has there been a play or two or a time or two you walked off the field and said, man, that was just a great play call?
I think he's been doing a great job calling plays. Well, I know he's been in the press box earlier during these first games, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. That's something that only he could say. But I know that sometimes being upstairs on the press box, you could be able to see things in a different way. And so I think for me, just going out there, we trust his play calling. We understand that he's going to put us in the right positions, and I think that he's been doing a great job. I think he has a great team around him that's being able to help him out whenever he's still trying to figure out certain things. And I honestly think that he's done an amazing job this year with just getting people open, allowing the plays to develop, calling the plays at the right time. Like you seen what happened whenever Chris Carson got that big run, and then we were able to score right after that. So he's done a great job in putting in packages that's going to allow us to be successful, as well as being able to catch teams off guard if we choose to use it.
Corbin Smith.
Hey, Tyler, you play a position that is kind of hit and miss for young guys coming into the league. It seems like some guys just really struggle to figure things out at the NFL level, and then there's others like DK that just immediately make an impact. How would you describe the learning curve going from college to the NFL at receiver, and how complicated is Schottenheimer's system compared to what a lot of colleges are running?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's too complicated. I think the biggest thing that separates a lot of guys coming into the league from the other guys who come into the league and who actually shine, I think it's just the fact of limiting all the distractions. A lot of people go from college, and they literally go from college to now they're in the real world with a real job, and everything is being thrown at them outside of football. And sometimes the whole goal of people was just to make it to the NFL. It wasn't to stay in the NFL. It wasn't to make your own name and create your own legacy in the NFL. So a lot of guys, they get to the NFL and it's like they've already lived their dream, but they don't have anything that goes beyond that dream of just making it to the NFL. And so a lot of times you see guys shine who not only wanted to make it to the NFL, but who also want to be great in the NFL. And I think that's what separates a lot of guys from playing 1 year, 2 years, or being able to play 10 to 12 years or even 8 years in their whole entire career. It's all about how well are you going to be able to limit the distractions away from the field, and that's what's going to allow you to be able to shine more so on the field. And some people can handle both. They could get distracted and still ball out, but you got to know yourself.
Jackie.
Hey, Taylor. We've seen a lot of great things from Russ over the course of his career, but this is clearly the best start he's ever had to a season. What do you think, in your perspective, has been so different for him or working for him so well out of the gates?
I think he's just playing with no fear. I think he's been, I know he's probably continued to work on his thing is called Limitless Minds, just being able to see how far he could take himself, even during his imagination. There's only so much that you could be able to do on the field without visualizing yourself being able to do it. So whether it's in the off season, whether it's even getting ready for practice or whatever, it's like he's visualizing himself being great, visualizing himself making those throws, doing things that a lot of people might not do. So when it comes down to those clocks ticking, when it comes down to that last play, when it comes down to having to make that tough throw, he's already practiced it over and over within his head, and so it's just another throw. But when you look at other people that don't visualize, they put themselves into a predicament where this is their first time even getting put in that situation and even doing it. I think he's already probably prepared for the whole entire season all the way to the Super Bowl. Now he's just literally living it.
Bob.
Sorry about that. Hey, Tyler, especially with DK's success this year, obviously had a lot last year too, but have you noticed any teams, do they play you differently at all? Have you noticed, just kind of over the last year and a half or so, DK started doing things?
You said, do they play me differently?
Yeah.
I think teams have tried to throw different stuff out there to try to figure out what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. And I think early on they tried to do some stuff to try to see if they stopped me, what other weapons that we had. And I think that's whenever you started to see DK to be able to shine, or where it was like, if you're not going to pay attention to DK, then DK is going to take over in the whole entire game. And so I think that just the emergence of how well he was able to adapt to being in the league and how great he was able to play early on, I think a lot of teams were going to say, if we're gonna see what he could do first. Now that everybody was able to see what he could do going into the first season, I think the second season he's already showing like y'all better pick y'all poison. Like, do whatever y'all want to do. If y'all gonna try to stop both of us, it's still not gonna work. If y'all gonna try to stop one of us, then the other's gonna ball out, and the other person is still gonna get their chance to shine. So I think just having him continue to ball out and be as great as he really is right now, I think that's allowing both of us to feed off of one another to where teams really don't know what to do. Some teams, we played one team and they play man to man, and then all of a sudden now the next team plays zone, and you still see we're figuring out ways to be successful and the ways to win and play off of each other, even if it's just blocking. But we're gonna get our opportunities. Everybody is. It's just a matter of just making sure that we capitalize off of each of those opportunities.
Last one for Joe Fan.
I've seen you make obviously a number of just contested catches over your career. Well, what's it like on a day like Sunday where I think all three of your touchdowns, you're pretty much wide open, maybe particularly in the post where you just run by their safeties and I'm sure at that point that there's a bust there, or, you just caught them, on the wrong call or whatever it is. What is that like when a play is executed to perfection like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you draw up plays like that and you hope that's what it looks like, but sometimes it's not really the way that it's drawn up. But for the most part, the wide open ones are usually the hardest ones to catch. But just being put in a position is just trying to focus. Sometimes you got to focus a little bit more than you would had it been a contested catch or just a guy's away from you about 1 or 2 yards. But when you're wide open, it's a little different. But I think for me, it's just like staying in that mindset of just finishing the play all the way through, not allowing myself to get relaxed, but just continuing to play. Of course, there was times where I wasn't able to catch the ball like 2 or 3 times, but then you would see like, oh, well, he scored a touchdown. Well, sometimes things like that happen. Sometimes, as mad as I was about not being able to catch those other balls, you look at it and say, well, if you caught that ball, you might not have the touchdown, so which one would you want? And so for me, I think it's a give and take. You also got to understand that sometimes plays don't work out in your favor, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the bigger picture, it's still going to work out for you. And so that's something that I take with me, not only in football, but also in life, is sometimes things aren't going to work out the way that you want it to or the way that you plan, but that doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that it's a bigger picture, and it's going to be a bigger prize at the end of it waiting for you if you just keep playing.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right, appreciate it.
Sure. Hey,
I was
Carlos,
about
how's
to
it
say,
going?
where can I hear? All right.
Okay. Hey, Carlos, how's it going? We haven't talked
Good.
to you, I guess, since right after you signed. Just sort of how's this been for you, the transition to Seattle so far, and sort of, I guess, the role they've had carved out for you here so far?
The transition and everything it's been fine. You know, things have been going smooth. Learning the plays, you know, all that. Being able, to retain the plays and all that. Everything's been good. My role, I'm just, playing it by pretty much, when Coach Chad put me in, that's when I'm going to go in, When it's my time to go in, I go in. And I try to make the plays that, come my way and go from there.
Joe Fan.
Carlos, you spent time with a number of different organizations now that you've been here for, you signed in the offseason to do Zoom meetings and stuff, but now that you've had a couple months in the building and getting to interact with everybody, be a part of the organization's camp, game days, everything, what have your impressions been? How has this gone so far for you?
Impressions on, like, the team? Or?
Yeah, just the team. And, this is a new team for you and a new beginning and, a new start for your career, and just kind of curious how you feel about it and how maybe it compares to other places you've been.
This place is, one of the best that I've been on. Been on, quite a few already. But this is definitely a place that's at the top. Just, how we go about meetings, just the energy from the coaches, the energy from Pete. You go out to practice, it's the same energy. Guys are the same person every day. It doesn't switch up. I guess it's easy right now too, though, because we're kind of like 3-0. But I know things can kind of change when you ain't winning either. But honestly, around here, it's just like used to winning. That's the culture. It's a winning culture, and you can tell guys are definitely used to that. Which is kind of different for me. In the NFL, I haven't been winning that much, so definitely feel good to be in this position right now, though, and just excited to be here, honestly.
Curtis.
Hey, Carlos. Having been down in San Francisco and playing against these guys for a few years, has joining them now been any different than what you expected, given what you saw from them afar, and being a part of this group now? How nice is it seeing what you guys have been able to do offensively through these first 3 weeks?
Being on San Fran and, especially when we used to play these guys, I used to, really, be locked in, because I knew it was a divisional opponent, and I knew how big, a win would be. But it definitely, being, on this team now in Seattle, and it definitely makes sense why these guys are always beating us, though. Just how they go about, everyday practice, just the culture, it makes sense why these guys play at a high level, and it was hard to always beat these guys. But I'm happy I'm here. I've been on my other side. Definitely happy. Looking forward to playing San Fran again, too.
Michael Sean.
Hey, Carlos, when you got hurt last year in Houston, you said you just figured if you just ran hard, you wouldn't have to really think about it. Have you just kind of been doing that since then? Because it looks like you've been just running through faces.
Yeah, that's still the same mindset, I'd rather be, putting it on the other guy than, taking it all on me. So, if I keep that mindset, just keep running hard, and most of that collision is going on them, not me.
Was there a running back growing up that you favored for his style of just running hard like that?
My guy was Ricky Williams growing up. Ricky Williams he's a run at the ball. But he definitely used to run hard. And, as I, gotten more into football as I got older, just seeing guys like, I remember back in the Bengals when they had Corey Dillon. Because I grew up in Cincinnati. I was born in Cincinnati. They had Corey Dillon. Then they had, what was the other guy? Forget the other guy. They had a couple guys who used to run hard, though. Rudy, right? Something like that.
Rudy Johnson?
Yeah, there you go, Rudy Johnson. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more for Carlos. Brady and then Jackie.
Hey, what's up, Carlos? We don't really know what Chris Carson's status is for this week with his injury. what would it mean for you if you were able to get a start in this game?
I mean, another start. I mean, it ain't nothing to go overboard about. That's how I prepare anyway. I prepare like I'm a starter anyway, so I'll be ready to go.
Thanks.
Hey Carlos, now that you've been here for a little while, what's your impression of the running back room, and how have the other running backs kind of helped you in this transition to a new team?
The running back room has been great though. Definitely a tight group. We all bring something different to the table, which makes us a special group. A lot of guys, a bunch of guys that can easily go in, and play that number one role. And it's a really good group, though. Tough guys, and guys are cool, though.
Thanks, Carlos. Should we bring Chad up here next?
All right.
Thank you.